Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to our Clean Green Initiative with the Samara organization. Our president and founder, whose brainchild this was, Byron Ward, is going to open up and say a few things for us. We're very excited with the Go Clean, Grow Green initiative, we're calling it, to have the community uh, participate with this is a wonderful thing. And today's guests are going to be very special. But before I go into that too much, let me hand it over to our president and founder, Byron Ward. Byron?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our second webinar in our series of building clean, green community bridges. My name is Byron K. Ward, and I'm the president and CEO of Central Coast Minority Enterprise Resource Affiliates. We call ourselves Samara for short, and we're just very pleased to have the support of the Clean Power Alliance as our primary strategic partner in this education series. We also want to acknowledge the Port of Hueneme, who is supporting this event as well as a strategic partner. I'm not going to be long, but I do want to give you a little background on how this came about. Samara was actually founded in April of last year. We are a California public benefit 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission is to educate our small business community and advocate for our small business community for issues that are important, particularly for Black and African American small business folks. Up until we were awarded a grant by the Clean Power Alliance, our biggest event annually is our Business and Leadership Gala event. So I'll give a plug here, put that on your calendar for February 7th, next year, 2026, at a location to be determined. You'll see here on the slide that in addition to our Clean Green initiative, we're also having economic development initiative, and part of that is our Economic Development Summit. We don't have a date for that yet, but look out. That event will be coming up in November. We're also part of a national partnership with an organization called Operation Hope, and we are committed to helping to build up and support 90 small businesses in the Tri-Counties region. And that initiative is called 1 Million Black Businesses. And so that's a little background on our organization. And today we're focusing on our Building Clean Green community bridges. And this is designed to educate our community with knowledge and resources related primarily to clean power and green technologies. Sustainability is very important as we emerge into the coming years. There's an initiative within the state of California called California Jobs First, and sustainability is high on the radar for uh, for that initiative across the state. Our Clean Green initiative is to promote that sustainability, to engage the community in green practices. And of course, our guests today are going to give us some information on that. And last thing I want to comment is that this full series of event is a total of 12 events. This is our second webinar event. We've had one live radio show podcast, and we'll do a total of 11 radio shows and webinars, and it'll culminate in a live event on September 13th. And that'll be a public forum, and we're combining with the Ventura County Resource Center, as well as the Clean Power Alliance and the Port of Hueneme. So we're collaborating with other organizations and trying to bring this important information to a wide audience. Thank you so much for joining us today. And with no further ado, I'll turn it over to our illustrious moderator, Dr. Daryl Goodman.
Thank you, Byron. Thank you for that excellent overview. And, as we get going here, I would like to thank our guests, and I'm about to introduce Joseph Cabral and Scott Grope. And before I bring them on, let me just give you a little bit about their background, and then we'll hand it over to these two gentlemen to begin this knowledge transfer session, I like to call it. Essentially, a little bit about Joe Cabral. He serves as the Clean Power Alliance External Affairs Manager for Ventura County and the surrounding communities, and has over 30 years of experience with such organizations such as ABC7 Disney, the Los Angeles Times, Medtronics, the Salvation Army, the City of Lancaster, and the United States Department of Commerce. So he's a very broad background with that. Joseph earned his Bachelor's of Arts degree in both journalism and political science from California State University at Northridge. He went on to earn his master's in business administration prior to completing Northwestern University's prestigious advanced executive program. Very, very, very accomplished. Thank you so much, Joe, for coming and being a part of this. Scott Grope, our other guest from the Clean Power Alliance, currently serves as the Strategic Sourcing Manager for Clean Power Alliance, managing the procurement of goods and services to support a wide variety of business needs. He previously served as a judicial clerk and has 15 years of legal experience working with a variety of contracts across different industries. Scott obtained a JD from Indiana University Murrow's School of Law. Did I say that right, Scott? Murrow?
Moorer, but
Moorer.
very close.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, as you can tell, these two gentlemen involved with the Clean Power Alliance are quite accomplished and ideal for the conversation we're about to have. In preparing for this, I read up a little bit on microgrids and just in general, the whole evolution of how electrical power is being dealt with these days. We're at a whole nother level of things going on. So this is very, very timely to kick this around and talk about these things. With no further ado, I'd like to hand it over to our experts for today. So Joseph and Scott, it's to you.
Okay, I'm going to take a second here to set up my PowerPoint, and possibly Daryl or MJ, if you could let me know when it's full screen and you can hear me okay, I'll proceed.
It's full screen. You can proceed.
Okay. Well, first of all, we're extremely proud that the webinar is one of the key initiatives that has resulted from CPA's Community Benefits Grant that Samara recently received. So I'll go right into it. So this is our philosophy. At CPA, we believe in a clean energy future that is local, where communities are empowered and customers are given a choice about the source of their energy. So we're the largest of 25 community choice aggregators, or CCAs as we're called, here in California. And what CCAs do is they allow communities to purchase electricity on behalf of their residents and businesses. And this ensures local transparency and accountability. And it also provides customers with more energy options to choose from. So now that we've taken just a brief look at CCAs, let's look at CPA, Clean Power Alliance. So we're what's called a joint powers authority. We serve the unincorporated areas of LA and Ventura counties, as well as 33 highly diverse communities throughout both counties. And in October, we'll also begin serving the city of Port Hueneme here in Ventura, along with 2 additional cities in LA County. So in total, we serve more than 3 million residents and businesses, and we have more customers receiving 100% renewable energy than any other utility in the entire United States. So importantly, our board of directors is made up of local elected officials, and each member agency has an equal vote. And so what this means is cities the size of Ojai and Port Hueneme enjoy the same voting power as municipalities as large as, say, the county of Los Angeles. So as a local not-for-profit organization, our revenues are invested to help our many customers and local communities. So now let's take a look at how CPA customers receive their energy. We purchase the clean renewable energy on behalf of our many customers, and this energy predominantly comes from solar, wind, geothermal, and hydropower sources. The local investor-owned utility, which is SCE here in our region, delivers the power and maintains the power lines. And SCE also sends a customer's monthly bill, which includes its charge for electricity delivery, as well as CPA's charge for electricity supply and generation. So I should point out here that the CPA charge is not an added fee. It simply replaces SCE's supply generation charge. In fact, on the total monthly bill, the CPA generation charge is typically 1/3 of the bill. So we offer 3 energy options. The 100% green power option provides 100% renewable energy at a 6% premium to SCE's base rate. The clean power option provides 50% clean energy at a 1% premium. And the lean power option provides 40% clean energy at the same price as SCE's base rate. So the City Council or the Board of Supervisors for each member community selects the preferred energy option for their respective community. So as you can see here on the chart, more than 70% have chosen 100% green power as their preferred energy option. And in total, 89% of CPA customers receive either 100% green power or 50% clean power. So to meet this ever-increasing demand for clean, renewable energy, we've already executed 56 long-term contracts for nearly 2,600 megawatts of renewable energy and more than 1,900 megawatts of battery energy storage. In fact, CPA is one of the largest purchasers of battery energy storage here in California. And so when we look at these contract opportunities, we provide preferences for projects that are close to our territory or in our territory, prioritize workforce development, provide benefits to disadvantaged communities, and show high levels of environmental stewardship. And as a result of all these collective efforts, our member communities have already avoided more than 13.5 billion pounds of greenhouse gas emissions. So as I mentioned before, CPA is a local, not-for-profit organization. And as such, we invest an appreciable amount of our revenues right back into our member communities through a variety of customer and community programs. In fact, we have a 5-year local program strategic plan that calls for $200 million of investments into our various local programs. So you can see on this chart that these programs benefit our member communities in local resiliency and grid management, transportation and buildings electrification, and local clean energy procurement. And so now together we can look at some of these programs. We have a program called the Power Response Program that encourages customers to reduce their energy usage when the cost of electricity is at its highest. And so this program offers multiple pathways to ensure all of our customers can participate in this important energy saving program. To your left, the smart home pathway sends actually automated signals to connected devices such as thermostats, EV chargers, and batteries to reduce energy usage. And the home pathway sends messages via the cell phone. So the customer knows to reduce their energy usage by either adjusting their thermostat or delaying their use of their major appliances. And you'll see we also offer a commercial pathway and a multi-family community pathway. We recently launched our EV Smart Charge program, and this one's proven to be extremely popular. The enrollments have just taken off. This program optimizes home electric vehicle charging to automatically occur during the time periods when electricity demand and prices are at their lowest. We have our Energy Team program that helps our residential and small business customers with their electrification upgrades. So participants in this program include renters, multifamily home residents, single-family home residents, and small commercial customers. The program provides free on-call technical support, as well as web-based resources to help our customers evaluate potential upgrades, apply for rebates, and find qualified local contractors, which isn't always easy, I found out once. We also recently launched our Sun Storage Rebate Program. And under this program, customers can receive $750 for installing a battery storage system. If the customer happens to be on either the Care, FARA, or Medical Baseline program, they can receive an additional $250, which would be $1,000. And very soon, customers located in communities with high or very high fire hazard severity zones will be able to receive an additional $1,250, which would be a total of $2,250. When I bought my such battery, it was about $8,000. So you're looking at about a possible 25% discount. Our Green Leader program provides an opportunity for CPA commercial customers on 100% green power to be recognized for their environmental leadership and commitment to clean energy future. And members enjoy a variety of benefits, including a promotional toolkit, a listing on our website, and invitations to Green Leader events. We also offer a number of bill assistance programs. In fact, 1 out of 4 of our customers receives assistance through either the Care, FARA, or Medical Baseline programs. In our 100% green power communities, low-income customers receive 100% renewable energy at the clean power rate. And the local programs I mentioned prioritize low-income customers and communities. So in addition to these many programs, we provide funding for various grant, scholarship, and workforce development programs. Last year, our Community Benefits Grant Program provided $325,000 to 14 nonprofit agencies. And this year, we're providing $375,000 to 18 agencies, including Samara. And our Voyager Scholarship Program provides financial assistance to community college students enrolled in energy-focused courses. We've also provided more than $2 million of funding for local workforce development programs, and these programs assist workers pursuing careers in both the transportation and building electrification sectors. So now I'm happy to introduce Scott, and he's our strategic sourcing manager, and he's going to talk about how to do business with CPA.
Thanks, Joseph. Appreciate the intro. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us this afternoon and or early evening, I suppose. So as Joe said, I'm the strategic sourcing manager, which means I oversee contracting and our supplier diversity initiatives at CPA. So CPA is a public agency, which means we do follow public contracting principles. So this is important because contracting with us might look a little bit different than how you've contracted with other private sector firms in the past, or even with other utilities, because they may not follow those same public contracting principles. So to give you a little bit of an idea of who we are and how we operate, we have some information about contracting here. So just to give you an idea of kind of the size or volume of our contracting, we're typically looking at around $15 to $20 million in non-energy contracting per year. So those are for all of the operational needs for the business. It could be anything from marketing and financial services to software subscriptions or engineering consulting. And we'll talk about some of those categories in a minute here. But the thing is, when we are looking for those services, we do undergo a formal process. So the formal process can take a couple of different forms, and that really depends on how much we're looking to contract for. So for contracts that are less than $100,000 in a 12-month period, we typically request competitive quotes from at least 3 different vendors, and then the business does some research to determine who can provide us the best value. So that applies to most of our smaller purchases, and we'll talk about how you can get more informed about those opportunities in a minute. But for larger purchases, like some of these programs that Joe talked about a few minutes ago, if we're spending over $100,000 a year, then we do publish formal solicitations, which could either be an RFP or something that we call a task order. And then 2 more notes about sort of the process aspects of contracting. Because we are run by a board of directors, all contracts over $250,000 do need to be reviewed and approved by our board of directors. So that follows a cadence of monthly board meetings. And then the final note we have here is that as a public agency, CPA is required to comply with Proposition 209, which means we cannot give preferential treatment to businesses based on certain categories that we will touch on in our next slide. So now that you have an idea about kind of how we approach things, I'll talk about what it is that we're typically looking to buy. So, sorry, Joe, could we go back to the previous slide, please? Thank you. All right, so probably the largest category that we buy services for is marketing and communications. We're often looking for things like creative or branding services, community outreach services, translations, ad buying, and printer mailing services. So that's quite a large category of our purchases, and those things fall into both categories of those formal bids for purchases under 100,000 and then full-on RFPs for the larger contracts that are over 100,000. We also do a fair amount of engineering consulting with our power supply team, and of course our financial and our finance team purchases consulting services for financial and auditing services. And then we do also purchase a fair amount of services for our data and systems team, including both software and consulting services. So a common question people have is, what does an RFP look like when we have these larger contracts and you have this more complicated process? How long does it take? So in general, it takes at least 90 days from the date of the launch to complete the RFP process. So this is usually broken out into a couple of different time periods. There's usually a Q&A period that lasts around 2 weeks. Proposals, you typically have 4 to 5 weeks to submit a proposal from the time of launch. Then we go through an interview and review period that lasts 1 to 2 weeks. And then there's a contract negotiation period that lasts 2 to 4 weeks. So it's a pretty involved process, and it does require a fair amount of work, not only on our side, but also on the business side. So it's helpful to know kind of how that process works before you see something that you're interested in bidding on, because 90 days sounds like a long time, but in our experience, most firms find that it actually moves very quickly, and it's helpful to be really ready to jump into that process once you see those opportunities. So, Joe, could we see the next slide, please? All right, so now you've heard about time. You're probably wondering what makes a bid successful. This is another question that we get a lot. Oftentimes, firms think that the lowest price is the most successful proposal. That's not always true, though. So price is, of course, very important. As a public agency, we have to be responsible with our ratepayer funds. But we also look at something called best value, and that ensures that not only are we getting the best price, but we're getting the proposer who can provide the best services to us for that price. So don't be concerned if you think that maybe you can't underbid the next proposer. Really, what's going to make a bid successful is if you can highlight your strengths aside from just price. So, of course, you want to make sure that you always submit a complete response that follows all of the instructions that are in the RFP. Because it is a formal process, we do have to follow the process that is laid out in that document. You want to make sure that your proposal looks professional, right? It should be something that's polished. You probably want to submit it in a format like a PDF that can't be edited. You want to really provide us with a demonstration of your ability to handle the volume of work that we're looking for. Different programs have different volumes of work, right? It's very different if you're going to be a single consultant performing an audit for us compared to a firm who is running one of the programs that Joe just mentioned, like our EV charging program, because that's a very large program and you have to make sure that you have the resources and capacity to manage a program like that. So it's very important to show that you can manage that in your proposal. Your pricing should be broken out, very clearly. We should understand how the pricing works and that you understand what our needs are. The proposal should really be tailored to CPA and show your understanding of the communities that we serve. Because we are very community focused, we love to work with small and local businesses who really understand the LA and Ventura County communities. You should highlight, that unique perspective that you bring to the work. What's special about your firm? What do you understand about your community that's really going to make you extra valuable to us? And then you should also make sure that, if you have any questions about the contract terms, you highlight those in your response and ensure that you're ready to go through that contract negotiation process. We don't want to get to that final step and then find that there's a mismatch on the contracting side. All right, let's see. And then we had a little note here. If you are bidding, it is important to utilize that Q&A period to make sure that any questions you have are answered during that period. Again, because it's a formal process, we can't answer you directly. And once that window closes, we can't answer you at all. So just make sure you understand all of the timeframes and rules that are associated with that particular RFP. And I think we're ready for the next one, Joe. All right, so we talked a little bit about the contracting process. So the second piece of work that I oversee is supplier diversity. So we really have a commitment to working with small, local, and diverse businesses at CPA. We found that those businesses tend to be most plugged into the communities, and they can really kind of give us that perspective that we're looking for with a lot of these projects. So one of the ways that you can be discovered as either a small local business or a diverse business is to be certified with the CPUC and or join their registry at the Supplier Clearinghouse. So in order to be certified, you do need to be in one of the categories that is listed in this first bullet here. So they certify women, minority-owned businesses, LGBTQ-owned businesses, persons with disabilities, and disabled veteran-owned businesses, and that's in accordance with General Order 156. So if you go through that certification process, you will then be listed in the Supplier Clearinghouse, and you will be discoverable by firms who are searching for vendors for projects they're working on. So most of the other CCAs in California use this database, pardon me, and utilities use it as well. So it's a great way to get your name out there in the market so that both the CCAs and other utilities can find you when they are looking to send out notifications about bids. And then we also post our RFPs to the Supplier Clearinghouse Board. So you have the ability, once you're certified, to go in there and search for open RFPs. So I would imagine as business, you're probably checking out different job posting boards to see what opportunities are out there. This is one centralized source for all of those utility and CCA postings. And in order to do this, there is an online application process. You need to have your business's tax ID. There is very helpful staff there that can help walk you through the process. And if you do need help with that application process, there are also consultants who are able to help you complete those steps. All right, so really important how to stay in touch and make sure that you're hearing about our upcoming opportunities. We have a couple of different ways. The first and easiest way is to sign up to receive email notifications about upcoming solicitations. It's very easy to do that. You just put in your name and email address through our Contracting Opportunities website. And then you'll get an email that goes out to everyone who's signed up whenever we launch a new solicitation. However, as a small business, I would suggest you go a step further and actually respond to CPA's request for qualifications. So there's a link for that on the website as well. And what that does is it asks you to respond to a list of about 10 questions that we ask all businesses to provide some basic information about the services that you perform, and then you become what is known as a pre-qualified provider. And that gives you the opportunity to participate in task order solicitations, as well as putting you on our distribution list. And then finally, you can also reach out directly to us with this contracting@cleanpoweralliance.org email address, which is also on our website. And that's a general inbox that I monitor as well. And we're always happy to answer questions you might have about any of those processes.
So thanks, Scott. And I think that concludes our presentation portion. So we'll hand it back to Daryl.
Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen. That was very substantive. And the I'm a little bit familiar with some of the contracting kinds of things, and so I really enjoyed the way Scott laid that out. And to our constituents, folks who are interested, you can see there's a ready-made kind of a checklist that you could just go down the box with. Now we'll be able to share this presentation, Joseph, with our community. Is that cool? Is that okay?
Yeah, I'll send the PDF version to your offices and you can share it with everybody.
Okay, great, great. So if you have questions in the audience, I'm going to ask you to hold them for now. What we wanted to do was go through the presentation. I know you might have some thoughts queued up in your mind. If you could just jot it down, make a note, put them in the chat. We want to go on. We had some prepared questions that we had assembled and wanted to have Joseph and Scott address those initially. And then towards the end of the session, we will open up the gallery, and so questions we might have from our community, we'll be able to entertain those as well. To start us off, let me queue up a question we've had thought about, and could you guys explain, and however you want to attack it, maybe one of you can comment, and then the other one, you guys want to share on it. Can you share and explain how customers, particularly small businesses, can choose between CPA's green power, clean power, and lean power options to fill their budgets and values? Now, let me just say, I know I live in Ojai, and I read somewhere that our whole city is 100% clean green power, I thought, but I'm not sure. But I thought I read that somewhere in Ojai. Can you share a little bit about that, you guys? How does someone tap into one of those three options?
Well, as I mentioned in the presentation, your city council, if you live in Ojai City Council, the Board of Supervisors, if you're an unincorporated area, will choose your preferred energy option. And in Ojai, yes, in fact, that is a 100% renewable energy city. So you were defaulted into that unless you wanted to choose out, unless you wanted to opt out. It's definitely a very personal choice for each and every one of our customers. And to be quite honest, is predominantly why we exist, is to give the customers the choice. Because you got to remember, before your city decided to join CPA, you only had one choice, but now you actually have four choices. You could either stay with SCE, or you could choose our 40% lean power, our 50% clean power, or our 100% renewable energy. But it is definitely a personal choice. I'll talk for myself. I have solar, I have a battery, and I'm a 100% renewable energy customer, because personally, I feel that that small added cost is well worth the benefit to my community right outside the window here. And I'm also helping our state meet its renewable energy goals, which we personally feel is very important, at least in this household. So you ought to also remember, nowadays, many businesses have sustainability goals. And so having CPAs, I guess you can call this more robust, for lack of a better word, clean, renewable energy options to choose from, can help those companies achieve their clean energy goals quicker. However, yeah, I will say every situation is different, and you need to look at your particular needs and values to decide which energy option is best for you, whether that's at your home or at your business. Scott, I don't know if you wanted to add something.
I think you explained it pretty well, Joe. I think I would just echo your sentiment about choice, right? That is why CCAs exist. It's to give our community members the choice to select the type of power that is right for them. And previously, there was no choice. So now it is a personal choice, and you have the ability to make that.
Great. So if I understand it correctly, and you did a great job with the overview as well as in the presentation, but let me just pull the thread a little bit more. So a company, a small business in Ventura, one of your certified companies, woman-owned, LGBTQ, Black or Brown, or some other group that can be certified. Essentially, if the default of that decision-making body in that city has said, well, look, we're going to be at the 40%, but that company says if we want to go out in front, they can actually contact CPA and say, hey, we would like to exercise our 100% right, and they would be billed differently than the other businesses in that area. Is that right?
Yeah, you can, if you're a CPA customer, I mean, you could literally opt up and down every month. I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but we
Right, right.
do allow that. But yeah, yes, if you do not want to be on your current rate, whether that be the one that started when your city originally opted in, or perhaps you changed it along the way, you can either opt up or down at any time.
Interesting. I was never aware of that until we started researching this. So this is great. So CPA has been deploying resiliency hubs as part of its community programs, right? And this is on resilience, okay? Can you give us an example of what a hub looks like in practice, and who benefits during an emergency? The resiliency hubs, I guess, are activated during an emergency. Can you guys share a little bit more about that? A little bit more insight on that?
Yeah, you're alluding to what's called our Power Ready program, and that program for free for our member agencies. We offer the Power Ready program to our member agencies, of which there are currently 35. And if they opt into the program, for free, we'll provide a solar plus storage backup power system for one of their critical facilities. So you're probably asking, what's a critical facility? A critical facility could be a fire station, it could be an emergency operations center, it could be a cooling center, an evacuation center. I mean, just picture the last fire or the last earthquake. I think we've all lived through one of those. Well, definitely fires recently,
Right.
and what it was needed. So we've close the first round of the program. And because due to the first round of the program, we're going to have 11 of these solar plus storage backup systems throughout our entire service territory. And in our western region, which is kind of what I oversee of everything this side of the San Fernando Valley, we actually have five. So I can go over those, give you a better idea of what do they look at, which I think was part of that question. The locations in both Oakview and Agora Hills are going to be used for evacuation or cooling centers. Okay, so just picture the emergency happens, you need an evacuation center, as we've seen. Or sometimes, I used to work at City of Lancaster, as mentioned, and we activated our cooling centers quite often. And so sometimes you need emergency backup for those, because what will happen if for some reason you lose power, you still need a place for your citizens to go. I don't want to become too long-winded, but let me finish the examples. In the city of Oxnard, they have that service. They have a building on C Street that's called the Service Center, administrative service. Well, half that building, when an emergency happens, becomes their emergency operations center. So that's a large building, but our backup power will provide emergency backup power to that half of the building specifically. So if they were to lose power, at least they could keep going with an emergency operations center. Having staffed an emergency operations center many times, you don't want your EOC to go down during an
Hmm.
emergency.
Right.
Um, and the one in Simi Valley is going to be an emergency backup to the county's fire station out in Simi Valley. And lastly, the city of Westlake Village is the backup power will back up their civic center, which includes their city hall, which I would imagine includes their emergency operations center. And so that's what resiliency hubs are, and that's how CPA is playing a role in those.
Great. Great. Going another question from your perspective, what's one underutilized CPA program that could help small businesses improve energy efficiency and resilience? I mean, it is kind of you laid out ways and means that companies can get involved with CPA, but this one kind of goes to how does a company sort of stack up and make sure they're doing all the right things, you know? So from your perspective, what are some of the underutilized programs that maybe small businesses could be taking advantage of? Either one of you guys?
Let's see. For me, it would probably be, I don't know, it's not taking the least advantage of, but you probably get the most bang for your buck. That energy team program. And the reason I say that is their consultants are very well versed in all of our programs. So when you contact, yeah, that was one of the programs I covered in the slides. Um, but when you contact them, you're really, if you're, whether you're a business, a small business owner or a resident, you're contacting them to try to find what can I do to improve my energy efficiency, which of course is going to save you money. Um, and in the course of you describing your small business or your home, if their ears perk up and say, "Oh, you know what? You'd be perfect for our power response program," or "You'd be perfect for, oh, you got a car, an EV, EV smart charge. Have you thought about that?" So I would think that our energy team program would be that program.
Energy team program. Go a little different route with this. In terms of well, it's one thing to get yourself up and going and take advantage of the what is it called again, Joseph? The
The energy team program?
energy team program.
Uh,
So got it. Now, what I'm curious about, just as listening you talk about that, was when Scott mentioned the various ways you can become certified for the utilities organizations to tap in and take advantage of your services. I'm curious, do you guys track the percent, Scott, of how many certified companies you've given contracts to? Like, for instance, if you've given out, I can't remember the figure, 15 million, I can't remember exactly what it was, but you've allocated for this fiscal year $15 million of contracts you guys are going to put out. Do you have like targets of how many contracts or what percentage of contracts go to small communities that are underrepresented? Do you guys track that kind of stuff?
So we don't have targets because Prop 209 forbids that. However, we do track that information and we actually file an annual report. So it's required under California law. We file a supplier diversity report every year. So that also is through our contacts at the CPUC, and that applies to businesses who are certified through the supplier clearinghouse only. So that is one of the challenges when working with small and diverse businesses. There are many certifications out there, but the only one that really is tracked or counts in terms of reporting is that supplier clearinghouse certification. So, that's something that we always try to explain to businesses, right? There are so many certifications out there, but in California, for these particular purposes, that CPUC Supplier Clearinghouse certification is really the one that is important. And
No, I
that's the
got
one
it.
that will get you visibility with utilities and CCAs.
That's a foot stomper in class. When we're lecturing, you stomp your foot to make sure students pay attention. That's a foot stomper there, right? To make sure you get in that group, be certified. Um, when I think about things like electric vehicles, it would seem that you want to play and become a part of that schema of doing business, getting that certification would be key to be able to play in that realm, huh?
It's certainly very helpful. So, I think one of the things that we often struggle with as well is identifying suppliers, right? We are comparatively a young and small business ourselves. So we have a ton of customers, a high volume of energy purchases, and 80 something employees. So we do not have a giant staff that can devote endless hours to searching and these types of programs, right? So that's why I say if you want the visibility and you want an easy way to be discovered, being in a database like this, and that supplier clearinghouse in particular, is a way that we can easily run a search and find you, add you to a distribution list, reach out to contact you, and get more information about your business.
Excellent, very good. So to both of you guys, this is great. I mean, I'm looking at the time and thinking, oh, we're almost we don't have much time left. We got one more question, and I'm going to go to the audience after this. What is it that you see on the horizon for CPA from both your point of view? in terms of working in Ventura County, what new initiatives or pilots that you particularly are excited about or have conceived, and maybe it's not even on the table yet. Give us the early announcement. Let Samara be the ones that you announced it first at.
Well,
What's on the horizon?
But part of this answer will be a little bit of a first announcement. But first of all, the city of Port Hueneme is going to become our newest Ventura County member community this October. So
Great.
that's what I'm focused on. And in less than a month, on July 12th and 13th, we're sponsoring the 2-day Hueneme Beach Festival. And that's so we can get out there and share this information about CPA with these new customers. So if you want to come out and say hello, come on out. We're also sponsoring the September 27th Banana Festival at the Port of Hueneme. That's also because that's in the city of Port Hueneme to get the word out. And then once the city of Port Hueneme begins receiving service in October, the only city left here in Ventura County that will not at that point be a CPA member is the city of Fillmore. And just a couple of weeks ago, their city council voted to begin the process of joining CPA. So if all goes well, and you never know until the ink's dry, of course, but the city of Fillmore could begin receiving service from CPA as soon as October 2027, at which time we would then be serving all of Ventura County. So that's huge. I wanted, since you are a CBG grant recipient, I want to tip my hat to two other CBG grant recipients real quick. Another one of the CBG recipients, it's called C5, Central Coast Clean Cities Coalition, just launched a 3-week electric vehicle supply equipment technician training program, and that's at Oxnard College. So we're very excited to see this new local workforce development program coming to fruition, and it's already started. So it's beyond fruition. And then another grant recipient called Nyland Promise is using their funds to develop educational outreach in both Spanish and Mixteco. And this outreach will be about the importance of reducing your energy consumption during the most expensive hours of 4 to 9 p.m. So, I mean, if there's one message I can get across to all the viewers is reduce your energy consumption between 4 and 9 p.m. because the cost of electricity is appreciably higher during those hours. And then I'm on a couple committees helping the county of Ventura finalize what's called their comprehensive climate action plan. So that's going to be going on the next few months. But I think next month you're going to hear from the VCREA directly, and I'm sure Victor will fill you in on that. Scott, if you want to add anything, or else we can go to other questions.
Yeah, real quick, I'll just say we have a couple RFPs launching. One launched yesterday for creative services. We would love to have someone from Ventura County. We're always looking to add firms that have that strong local presence and understanding of our markets. So that's digital marketing. We have one that's going to be launching next week for research services for, again, our marketing team for customer attitudes and program understanding. So great opportunities for a small and local firm to do some work with our marketing.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Scott. That's coming. That's not on the street yet. Is that right?
So the creative services launched yesterday. Research is going to launch next Tuesday. So one is out there, one is about to be. So.
Very good. Very good. All right. Well, I think we are at a good point in time where we could try to take a few questions from the audience. Do we have any? Let's see. If you are a constituent, the city CPA serves you automatically enrolled, and okay, so let's see. Here's one question. Does CPA do advocacy to ensure that the work that you do can stay operating, can stay operation considering the political climate? Do you work with other renewable energy companies in California? So I guess the question is, given the climate, when you talk about some of the certifications for small businesses, women, Black, LGBTQ, Latino, and whatnot, given the climate, is that affecting you kind of? And do you work with other renewable energy companies in California?
Well, you saw the chart I had that showed that we're one of 25 CCAs.
Mm-hmm.
There's an organization called CalCCA, and that is our trade group, if you are a trade organization. and they do a great job on advocacy. So, I mean, we do some ourselves, but we usually, because most CCAs agree on most everything. So we usually roll up, and of course, you're much more powerful. CCAs are now, let me reverse word that. One third of California's population now belongs to CCA. So when Cal CCA speaks, it does people do listen, so to say. So yeah, we do have our own government affairs and legislative office. Yes. To answer the question, most of the time we join forces, have a greater voice with Cal CCA. Scott might want to add something.
I would just add for perspective, we are created under California law. As Joe said, CalCCA is our main advocate. We are not funded by federal funding, so there has been no impact to our dedication to our DEI activities at CPA.
Great. And what is your favorite thing? Here's the last question from the audience. What is your favorite thing of working at CPA? This work you do is incredible and important. So thank you, and thank you as well. I mean, our audience thanks you. I think it was very informative. But what about it do you like so well, you guys?
There's a million things I like. Let me point out that we did win one of the best place to work last year. And when
What?
you win one year, you fill out a survey for next year. So we're hoping within a couple of months we're going to hear that for 2 years in a row. We're one of the best places to work. And I've worked in a lot of places, as my bio said, and it is one of the best places to work. I will tell you that. And I worked at Medtronic, which was a Fortune 100 best place to work. Um, and speaking of DEI, I was an original member of that DEI team, and we walk that talk, and I mean we walk the talk on everything we do. I think when I'm out there doing the shows that I'll do in a couple of weeks out at the beach in Wainimi, I mean just being able to talk to our customers and share with them all of the benefits of being a CPA customer. I think I'll turn it over to Scott in the interest of time here.
Yeah, I would say, echoing what Joe said a little bit, I think, what do I like about working at CPA? The people there are great. Everyone is really committed to the mission. I think it's, that clean energy future is super important. And in terms of the work we do locally, it's really what drives our mission, right? It's community choice. We want to give our member communities that choice, and we make sure to reinvest as much as possible back into those communities. So there's that strong commitment to make sure that all of our small, local, and diverse businesses have that opportunity to work with us, and we really do our best to make sure that they have a fair opportunity when it comes to contracting, and that when we're selecting businesses, we do our best to make sure that they're representatives of our communities.
That's great. That's great. As we begin to wrap up here, I just want to let everyone know, as Joe alluded to, next month on the 16th at this same time, we're going to be hosting the County of Ventura. And there's several people, I won't mention the names because we might not have the two or three folks I talked to initially, but we will definitely have the folks from Ventura County that share with us the initiatives from the county's perspective. And I'm sure Joe and Scott, you guys work with the county pretty closely. So we'll have the county representatives next month on the 16th at the same time. So before we leave, one thing, Byron, you got your hand raised, sir. Yes.
Yes,
I
we
got 3 minutes.
our other strategic partner, the Port of Hueneme, and I just wondered if they're a customer because they have their own zero emissions
Good question.
clean power initiative.
Yeah, as soon as October 1st hits, they're a customer, and
Huh?
we're ready. We're ready. Our major accounts manager on our side is already working with. You guys may even know Giles Pettifer, but it's not just Giles, but a lot of people at the port.
Yes.
We're already working with the port, getting ready for that. So
That's
we're
great.
excited about this. This will be the first port that we have, and we've worked with a lot of large businesses such as JPL and the such.
Oh, that's great.
We're blessed to have as
Well,
customers.
Port,
But this
yeah,
will be
that's great.
this will be our first port, so it's going to offer an opportunity for hopefully some more diverse programs. You see that we love doing programs to help our businesses. And obviously, a port offers a whole different stream, no pun intended, of opportunities to innovate some programs.
Oh, we have a minute left. A tweaked last comment I'm going to leave to our guests. Did you have one more thing, Byron?
No, I just said the port is a great partner
Oh,
in
they are.
many ways.
Yeah. So with that, I'll go to you, Scott. Then Joe, I'll give you the last word so we can sign off. Scott.
Yeah, I would encourage everyone, if you want to work with us, make sure we know who you are, right? So get on one of those lists, make sure you're discoverable because, again, if we don't know who you are, we can't do business with you.
And one more time, the name of that certification organization is
The Supplier Clearinghouse, and I believe the link was dropped in the chat here for everyone.
And
for me, I'm just happy that the funds we provided from our CBG grant are going to this webinar. I'm happy that we're one of the first on it. And yeah, just keep up the great work.
Yep. With that, that's a wrap. Thank you all. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Byron. Thank you, everybody, for attending. God bless and have a rest of your evening pleasant. Thank you.